Hello and very good morning, friends. We will discuss the commercial policy of British India, and we will discuss basically from 1757 to 1857. If you divide the whole modern history, we will find that we can divide it into three parts. The first part ranging from 1600 to 1757, that is till the Battle of Plassey, and then from 1757 to 1857. After 1857, we know that the revolt of 1857, the monopoly of the company got changed, and the British crown has whole superiority, whole control on the British, whole control on the India. So, and the third phase is that from 1857 to 1947, that is the British age, the crown period. So, 1600 to 1757 was the still the crown, still the company phase, and after 1757 to 1857 was also the company phase. But after 1757 to 1857 was the 1947 was the crown phase. So we will discuss the commercial policy. The commercial policy from 1600 to 1757. We find that since the ruling at that time was ruled by the company, so we find the company, since company has a whole motive of making profit. So the profit was motive was to make profit. How did they make profit? They make profit, and because they purchase goods from India, and we know that the goods that is being purchased from India was having a very high demand in the European country. So they purchase good from India and sell into the European markets, and they make the profit. But after 1757, the commercial policy got changed. We will discuss how it got changed and what are its impact. So the trading company during this period from 1600 to 1757 was basically divided into two parts. The first was that since the company was a foreigner company, and so the Indian ruler was not able to chase them. Indian ruler was not able to chase the company out because they were not very competitive. And second thing, the company gave a huge profit to the Indian manufacturer, handicrafts, artisans, because they sell their they sell their goods, and in return they give Indian the goods and bullions. So the Indian ruler was not able to chase them out. Second, because the British has a dominance over the sea. So during that time, we find that the Mughal were strong, and the Mughal rule, Mughal was strong, and since the Mughal trade was also going through the western side, and the Britishers has dominance in the sea. So when if the Indian ruler will not allow them to have a trade with us, with the India, then they will also not allow us. They will also not allow the Mughal trade to via sea route to the European to the what we can say Middle East country. So this was the reason why the Indian ruler was not able to chase the company out. Second thing is that the British manufacturer were against the Indian goods. They actually hate the Indian goods. They hate because we find that we find that because the British manufacturer were producing their own goods, and they obviously they will want that their own good will produce, their own good will flourish. So how can they allow the Indian good to be sold in their market? So they were against the Indian good. And how? What is the proof we can say that they were against the Indian goods? We have three proof. Robinson Crusoe said that was a historian, was a writer. He said that the Indian goods was spread in every nook and corner of the British houses. Such a very important point, such a very beautiful line. He said that the Indian goods were present at every nook and corner, everything were made of the Indian goods. Even the NCERT writes that the Indian goods were present even in the pillow, the curtain, etc. Means that the Indian good was having so much huge demand in the British manufacturer, in the British houses. So what since we know that they were against Indian goods, so they hate the Indian goods. So what they did three things. The first thing is that in 1720 they make law to prohibit the Indian goods from entering. Second thing they does that they have a very heavy duty. They impose a very heavy duty on the Indian goods. And the third and very important thing, that they also they impose a fine on the Indian goods. Example was given. The example is that a British lady was that who was fought with the Indian handkerchief, and she was fined 200 sterling. So we can find that such a huge demand of the Indian goods were present in the British houses. So they want to have impose a heavy goods so that its demand can reduce. So but one thing that we have to understand, from this area, from 1600 to 1757, the Indian goods were selling in the market, in the British market. But after 1757, when the company got the power, when the company establishes the dual power in after 1765 to 1772, and after 1757, that is the Battle of Plassey, the administration of the India, of the Bengal, Bihar, and Odisha was in the hand of the company. So the whole commercial relation got changed. It changed to such a level that the change was not in the quantitative but was in the qualitative term. Qualitative means that in the terms of quality. So we will discuss how quality changes. It's called quality change because the Indian handicraft were not allowed to sell their goods in the Indian market. So from this we find that the Indian handicraft was not present there. So only the European market was there. European goods were there. So this was the first quality change in the quality because earlier there was competition, but now the competition got collapsed. Second thing is that they benefited from the Indian goods. How? Because they purchase the good from the Indian market. They purchase the raw material and at a very low price and sell the final good, finished good, at a very high price. So in the way they were having very double benefit, and in this way they were also able to compete the market and overcome their rivals. And third thing is that the rival traders were eliminated. Basically the rival trader of the English were, we know that the French was a rival. So they were able to eliminate the rival traders until at the end of the 1757. That is at the end of 1748, 54 after that. So we have shown that the commercial relation was changed at the qualitative level. So, but the natural question arises: why this change? So why this change? Because if you look at the perspective of the world history, we find that a very important development was going on in the 1750. In the 1750, we find that the Industrial Revolution was a very important concept, a very important development in the world history, which has changed the entire history. But we understand, if we have to go to the very basic why Industrial Revolution happened, we have to go to the history, that is 1453. 1453, when the Turk occupied the Constantinople, and after that the geographical discoveries which has given the concept of India, the new trade route to India, and also the discovery of America. And after after geographical discoveries, we find the Renaissance happens. Then after Renaissance happens, then Industrial Revolution. So this is a chain which goes on. So this was a very important development, as we have seen in the another video. We have discussed all these things. So this Industrial Revolution was a very important concept. This Industrial Revolution has changed the economy of the British. But if you look at the very basic of the Industrial Revolution, we will find that if someone asks what is Industrial Revolution, we can say basically three things. The first thing is that Industrial Revolution is based on the modern machines. The modern machines which were very far capable of producing goods as compared to the handmade handicraft. Second thing is that it gave the development to the modern factory system. And third thing is that the concept of capitalism. Capitalism was the people who were able to rotate the money. So capitalism means that the rotation of the money. This rotation of the money gave the formation of a new factory system, because this capitalism requires the wealth. When the wealth was this wealth was used for establishment of new modern factories. This led to the investment where in the modern factories, modern machines, etc. So also this capitalism has given a concept of a new new economy, we find that the society was divided on the basis of ethnicity. But after the formation of this, after the industrial revolution, when the capitalism came for the first time, it gets the new concept, the new class. The class was that the two class. The first is the worker class, and second is the capitalist class. So this capitalist class has a formation of the worker class because they established the industry. So for industry, our class was required. The person who will work on in industry. So the worker class was required. So this gave the development of two: the capitalism class, capitalist class, and the worker class. This worker class, when this worker class was formed, when the worker was formed, the worker class was formed. This class, for earlier, before the formation of the worker class, the people were having their regional identities. They were divided on the region basis, that this region is mine, this region is yours. But after the formation of the formation of the industries, the workers got divided on the basis of, not divided but united on the basis of a nation, because now we know that an industry cannot be established in a particular area, and it cannot be possible that it does not have an impact on the whole country. So because an industry requires market, raw material, and the capitalist. So a market cannot be established, a market cannot be there at a particular area. A market can be present at the whole country. So this worker class has gave the formation. This worker class, because of formation of this worker class, the region identity got established, got finished, and a new identity came in the for the first time, that is establishment of a nation. When a nation was formed, the nationalism came, and we find that because of this industrial revolution, in Britain has a unity on the basis of a nation, but India lacked the unity on the basis of a nation. So during that time, when the industrial revolution was going on, 1750, 1760, the Britishers got they have a unity on the basis of a nationalism, but India lacked this. So this was the basic that we have discussed. So now, if you move on this industrial revolution have changed the economy. This change in economy, gave the formation, resulted in the change in the society. So if we discuss what happened till 1750 and after 1750, till 1750 we know that the company take the good from India and sell in the market of the Europe. So overall they benefited from us, and they also gave us bullions and gold. So after 1750, after the industrial revolution, the British were manufacturing goods at a very huge amount and a very huge quantity. So they ultimately, when they are producing something at a very huge amount, they have to sell in the market. So they know that the market was present where? The market was present at the Indian market. So ultimately, when the market is at the India, they have to kill the Indian industry. So because of this industrial revolution, they have killed the Indian industry. So we were discussing why qualitative change, because of IR, means industrial revolution, and it has led to the killing of the Indian industries. Now the next important thing is that this. So overall, this change in economy, because why change in economy? Because of the modern machines, modern factories, and capitalism. Second thing, this capitalism requires wealth. So they requires wealth, and they take the wealth from the Indian traders. Example, the Robert Clive have took the bribe and gift, and this bribe and gift were ultimately used for the Indian British capitalist. So this was the second important development, second important thing which is required for the formation of a new economy, and this new economy was based on the IR. Now, third important thing for the changing of a economy and the based on the industrial revolution was the population. We find that there was a huge increase in the population, and why population was increased? Because there were two things. The first thing is that let me just remove this. this population which was increasing in the Britain served two purposes. The first purpose was that the labor was required for the industry, and second thing is that the market was required. So we know that the labor must be cheap. So when the population is very high, we know that the labor will be cheap. So they ultimately they fulfilled their first aim. That is because of the increasing population, the labor was cheap. And as we know that when the population is very high, they ultimately the population requires something called the goods. So the market was also present because of the increasing population. So the third important development was the increasing population. The fourth important development was the fourth thing that is required for any capitalist class is that the dominancy of the capitalist class. Dominancy. This dominancy was because when they saw that when they saw that the capitalist class is making profit, so they moved on. More and more capitalist class got emerged, more and more capitalist people got emerged, and they ultimately led to the dominancy of the capitalist class. So this dominancy was also seen in the Parliament of British Parliament. So this British Parliament, when it was dominated by the capitalist class, it resulted in a change in the policy of British, and this change in policy of British was reflected in the Indian policy, which was ultimately reflected by the Charter Act of 1813, when they have ended the monopoly of the company and they wanted to invest in India, and also Charter Act of 1833, etc. And ultimately the crown was the ultimate authority over India. So we have seen this dominancy was seen in the parliament. The parliament was because this parliament decided to change the policy and so on, like this. The next important thing was that the technology revolution. So why technology revolution? Because when everything was going ahead, when the capitalist class was making profit, ultimately the profit requires, when the profit is there, you will invest something. You will invest where? You will invest all in the machine. So this machine led to the technological revolution. This technological revolution gave a concept of machine, and this machine was seen in the form of technological revolution. So this technological revolution was a very important development. Now we will see the concept, how this has led to the development of the society. It means this change in the society, this change in economy was reflected in the change in the society. This was a very natural phenomena, and we will see this how this has led to the change in that society. As we have discussed the change in society, the change in economy led to the natural development of change in society. So we will discuss how the society got changed because of change in economy. So we will find basically four changes in the society. The first was that it was visible in the society because in the form of the high standard of living, the society got evolved. The standard of living got changed and it became a high. Why? Because they were getting an enormous amount of wealth. So this wealth that they were getting because of this industrial revolution had led to the change in the living condition of the people of the British. And second thing is that this led to the promotion of the urbanization. We have a data. The data is that in 1751 there were only two urbanized cities. Two urbanized cities was present, but in 1851 there were 59 urban cities. So we can see a very huge difference in just a period of 100 years. The urban cities got increased so many times, so many percentage. Earlier it was only two urban cities were present, but after industrial revolution, which happened in 1750s, changed the economy and changed the society, and this got increased to 59. Now the two important groups got formed because of this industrial revolution, and the first was that the capitalist class, as we have discussed, and second thing is that the proliferate. This was the second group that was formed. Sorry for the pronunciation. And the third and fourth important development was that the rise of powerful manufacturing class. why the rise, why the word rise because this industrial revolution has given birth to the capitalist class, and capitalist class ultimately they invest their money to produce goods, and when the goods were produced, it ultimately gave rise to the birth of the manufacturing class. So this manufacturing class was very powerful because this was getting promoted, because the more and more urbanized cities got immersed, more and more the high standard of life of the people was there, and the more and more they were getting profit. It ultimately led to the rise of powerful manufacturing class. This was very important development, because when the manufacturing class was powerful, they changed the policy of British according to their own interest. So we find that we have discussed two things. The first thing is that the economy and the society. This economy and society has led to the development, led to the change of the in changing the interest of the East India Company. So this company